I was standing on my own driveway, watching white paint soak into black asphalt. The words, "Fire Access," still wet, still bleeding at the edges, while a woman I'd never invited onto my land smiled like she'd already won. 5 minutes later, a county inspector taped a bright red stop, work order to an orange cone, and that smile collapsed so fast, it was almost embarrassing. That was the moment I realized this wasn't just about a driveway anymore. It was about how far an HOA president was willing to go when no one told her no. I bought this place for one reason: control. A small ranch house tucked back in the woods, one long private driveway, and zero HOA jurisdiction. That wasn't an accident. I checked the deed twice before I signed. I pulled the parcel map myself. My property line is clean, sharp, unquestionable. I'm not part of Whispering Pines, the subdivision down the road with matching mailboxes, monthly dues, and a board that loves the sound of its own authority. I live next to them, not inside them. And that distinction mattered more than I ever imagined. The first time I met Karen Dubois, I didn't know her name yet. I was rolling my trash bins back up the driveway when she appeared from the roadside, stepping into my space like she'd always belonged there. Mid-50s, perfectly styled hair, clipboard tucked against her arm. That tight, polite smile people use when they think they're about to get their way. "Hi, I'm Karen," she said, sticking out her hand. "We're updating our emergency access plan. Your driveway is the easiest route for responders. We'll need your cooperation." I didn't take her hand. I just looked at it for a second, then back at her face. "This is private property," I said. "If you need something, put it in writing, with a county permit number." Her smile tightened. "Just a fraction." "We will," she said, already turning away like the conversation was over. That night, something told me not to brush it off. I pulled the doorbell footage, clipped the interaction, saved the timestamp, and backed it up. Her exact words, her face, her tone. I didn't know why yet. I just knew I'd want it later. 3 days later, an email hit my inbox. Subject line: Community Safety Compliance. It claimed Whispering Pines had adopted an emergency access standard requiring adjacent driveways to remain unobstructed. It politely asked me to confirm I'd keep the access lane open. I screenshot the full email header, saved the message as a PDF, downloaded my county parcel map showing my driveway footprint. Then I replied with one sentence: "I am not within your association. You do not represent authority over my property." I BCC'd myself. Evidence filed. Karen didn't respond. Instead, she sent a proxy. A property manager showed up at my door with a clipboard and a practiced smile. "We just need your signature acknowledging the emergency access lane," he said. "Standard procedure." I kept the storm door closed between us. "Show me the easement," I said, "or the permit. Otherwise, leave." His smile twitched. "I'm just the messenger." "Then deliver this," I said. "Stop trying to buy consent with paperwork." After he left, I pulled the porch footage again, grabbed stills of his company logo, zoomed in on the form he'd offered. The line that mattered was right there in plain language. "Owner agrees to shared access lane." That wasn't a form. It was a trap. The following Monday, Karen tried something new when I drove down to check my mail. Orange cones were sitting along the edge of my driveway, right at the roadside shoulder. A cheap reflective sign leaned against them. Emergency access. No parking. No county seal. No permit number. Just plastic confidence. I photographed everything. The cones, the sign, my boundary marker in the same frame. Then I flipped the sign over and called the contractor sticker on the back. "We have a work order from Whispering Pines HOA. the receptionist said. I asked for it in writing. When it arrived, there was one contact name, Karen D. That's when it hit me. She wasn't bluffing. She was building momentum. And momentum is dangerous when you're dealing with people who think authority is something you can manifest by acting like you have it. At 6:12 a.m. that Wednesday, the sound of machinery woke me up. I stepped outside and saw a crew in reflective vests setting up on my driveway shoulder. A foreman was giving orders. A stencil lay flat on the asphalt. Karen stood off to the side with her clipboard, supervising like a general. "County mandated emergency marking," she called out when she saw me. "Please don't interfere." I started recording. "What's the permit number?" I asked. "In process," she said, smiling. That's when I gave a quiet command. "Ranger, post." My dog, trained, calm, wearing his harness cam, walked out and sat at the boundary stake. No barking, no lunging, just stillness. The foreman frowned. "Ma'am," he said. "You said the owner approved." Karen snapped, sharp enough for both cameras to catch. "I told you he was difficult. Keep going." I didn't argue. I called the sheriff's non-emergency line and asked for documentation of trespass and unauthorized alteration. While I waited, I stood there watching white paint soak into my asphalt. And for the first time since this started, doubt crept in. What if I was wrong? What if this really was some emergency thing I didn't understand? What if I was the problem? The difficult neighbor refusing to cooperate? Standing there, listening to the machine hum, I felt tired, small, like it would be easier to just let it happen and be done with it. That thought scared me more than Karen ever could. Deputy Morrow arrived 15 minutes later. Karen rushed him immediately. Clipboard up, voice urgent. "He's obstructing emergency access," she said. "This is a safety issue." Morrow held up a hand. "Owner first." "This is my driveway," I said. "They're marking it without consent or permit. I want an incident number." Morrow turned to Karen. "County paperwork?" "It's being processed," she said. He looked at the crew. "Stop work." As the machine backed away, I photographed the wet stencil, the incident card in Morrow's hand, and later, the harness clip of Karen saying, "Keep going. Clean timestamp. Clean escalation. Clean proof." 2 days later, a certified letter arrived. The HOA claimed my refusal to coordinate created liability exposure. Attached was a board resolution approving an emergency corridor on adjacent driveways. I saved the envelope, scanned the letter, filed open records requests with the county permits office and the recorder's office. Anything tied to my parcel, anything mentioning Whispering Pines. The replies came back fast. No permit on file, no application submitted, no recorded easement or right-of-way. I printed both and highlighted the dates. Karen didn't accept that. Instead, she turned to optics. That Thursday night, Whispering Pines blasted an email to residents about a hostile adjacent owner refusing emergency coordination. She didn't name me, but my address was the only one referenced. A retired nurse who lives just inside the subdivision forwarded it to me. "She's trying to build a file on you," she wrote. I saved the full thread, headers and all, and asked her for a short statement confirming she received it unprompted. Screenshot. Timestamp. Witness. That Saturday, Karen held a community safety walk on the public road near my entrance, flanked by board members and residents. She pointed at my driveway and said, "Compliance is being established." A neighbor sent me the live stream recording. That was it. I emailed Karen one line: "Remove all markings and equipment from my property within 24 hours. Future entry will be documented as repeated trespass. Incident number." She didn't respond. Instead, the contractor emailed me. "We received a revised plat from HOA showing corridor connection. Can you confirm boundary? I asked him to forward what Karen sent. The PDF showed my boundary thickened, a red path drawn across my shoulder labeled Access Connector. I checked the metadata. Modified at 11:43 p.m. Author field wasn't a county office. I forwarded it to my attorney, Smoking Gun. We filed for a temporary restraining order. Karen couldn't resist an audience for the finale. The county inspector arrived on site with Deputy Morrow. The contractor's foreman showed up. Karen arrived with 2 board members behind her. Confidence back in place. "We're pleased to resolve this," she said, holding her board resolution like it was law. "Show me the permit," the inspector said. She pushed the resolution forward. He glanced at it, handed it back. "This isn't a county permit." I placed 3 documents on the hood of my truck. The county email, the recorder email, the clip of Karen saying, "Keep going." Morrow placed his incident card beside them. "Report is on file." Karen went completely still. The inspector taped the red stop, work order, to the nearest cone. "Restore the shoulder," he told the foreman. "Remove markings from private pavement. Submit proof of restoration." Then he turned to Karen. "Return here without permits and owner consent. And you're inviting enforcement and penalties. Do you understand?" She nodded, silent. The judge granted the restraining order that afternoon. The HOA was barred from my property. Karen was barred from directing work on it. Any notice implying authority over it was prohibited. The driveway was restored, the stencil removed, fees reimbursed. And, at the next board meeting, with council present and voices tight, they voted Karen out. That night, I walked the driveway in the quiet. No cones, no clipboards, just boundaries where they belonged. Lesson learned: power only works if you let it, and paper beats posturing every single time.